皆さん、また来てくださってありがとうございます。こちらはマンハッタンニューヨーク、月曜日の朝です。ということでね、今日の動画はね、J.D. バンスさんの前に、なんかちょっといろいろ開けたいのがいっぱいありすぎて、カマラ・ハリスさんの方が、インタビューしたんですよね。CNN じゃなくて SNBC でしたんですよ。それがまたねひどかったっていうことで、あちらがFOX はもちろん我々もみんなもうひどいわってなるんですけど、その味方お友達メディアである CNN とか SNBC の意見が面白かったので載っけてみたいと思います。あとね、トランプさんがアラバマとジョージアのフットボールの試合に行かれたんですね。その時にもうすごい人がチアリングして、もううわーってなってすごいことになってるので、その様子も見てほしいと思います。そして比較してティム・ウォルツさんも見てください。なんかね、アメリカではね、フットボールが一番やっぱりね人気があると思うんです。国技じゃないですけど、そんな感じのイメージなんですね。国技という感じで、その大統領がスピーチをしたりとか、選挙の時にバーッとこういうところに現れたりとかするんですね。で、そういうところでその観客がわーっと湧くかどうかっていうのは、その時のその世相というか人気のバロメーターみたいな感じでもあるんですよ。なので今日は見てください。でね、今はね、カマラ・ハリスさんはそういうところには全然行かないみたいなんですね。ブーっていうのが怖くて行かないんだろうっていう噂なんですけど、っていうことで、カーネギーホールにいらっしゃったようですが、その様子も見てください。どうぞ。
Expanding that child tax credit, or you mentioned housing before, giving that extra money for a first home. If you can't raise corporate taxes, or if GOP takes control of the Senate, where do you get the money to do that? Do you still go forward with those plans and borrow?
Well, but we're going to have to raise corporate taxes, and we're going to have to make sure that the biggest corporations and billionaires pay their fair share. That's just it. It's about paying their fair share.
Talk about that answer. I do, but here's what's a little tricky. She doesn't answer the question around if the GOP is controlling the Senate, if she can't raise corporate taxes, where is she going to get the money from? To expand the child tax credit and do all the things she wants to do. And she says, we just have to do it. And that's great, and that's a campaign promise. But the issue is, if it means we're just going to borrow again, then what we're doing is we're just never addressing the deficit.
I'm still confused about which billionaire rich people are good and which are bad. Trump is, I guess, bad. The people who support Trump are bad. The billionaires that she goes around with, I guess, are good. I think it's a very muddled thing, and I still don't understand. I think today was a miss for Harris. I mean, Joe Biden went on The View today and said he delegated all sorts of authority to her on domestic policy. We know that the Biden administration is not popular on domestic and economic policy. She gave a speech today saying we've got to move past the policies that people think have failed. Well, people think the last 4 years are a failure. And from what I can tell from this interview tonight, which was really a home game, I mean, going on with this particular interviewer was like effectively interviewing with her campaign's press secretary. She had nothing new to say on the economy beyond this ridiculous pablum. You want to talk about aspirations and dreams? They're crushed in this country because of inflation, and these kinds of interviews and the day that she had today are not going to solve it.
They do have some cheers, but they've put in some boos, a lot of boos, and it just doesn't even match the visuals here. You can see, people waving their pom-poms. You can see people clapping in the air. You don't hear any of those claps. You can see people visually cheering, yet you hear boos. It just doesn't make any sense. This is misinformation. So obviously the crowd is really excited. You can hear people screaming. And then here you'll see Trump going to the concessions. He and his team bought popcorn and they started passing them out, tossing them to the fans, and you'll see he starts going back and forth and, giving everyone popcorn, which was really, really nice. Now, during this campaign cycle, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz have made staged visits to gas stations, to restaurants, to spice shops, to delis, and we found out that the people they have around them are oftentimes hired actors and actresses. A lot of these are, staged so they can also use the footage for commercials or for their social media reels. Whereas, stuff like this with Trump is just completely organic. You can tell these are actual fans who are there. He doesn't have to do multiple takes of him passing out snacks. It's just, hey, I'm going to buy snacks and pass them out to people enjoying the game. Obviously, there you can see a lot of people really happy to meet Trump. So you can see all the flashing lights for the motorcade, all the cops, Secret Service. Minus all the empty seats behind him. Looks happy, surrounded by people, everyday America.
Trump 2024, baby! Well, first of all, I don't find them to be consequential. Second of all, Walz is a buffoon. I'm sorry. This guy, he's the only school teacher in America who brags that none of his students can get into an Ivy League school. He's had one consequential press interaction with our Dana Bash, who asked him about the fabrications in his own resume, and his answer was essentially, me no understand words good. I mean, he's a buffoon. He's on a free ride for running under Harris. He gets very little press. They don't let him talk to the press for a reason. I want one thing out of this debate. I want J.D. Vance to go out there and get under his skin. He has legendary hot, short temper. A lot of governors do, but apparently he does. I want J.D. Vance to go out there and have him explain why he is denigrating J.D. Vance's story. Small town America ends up making something better out of his life, which is something we should want for.
近所にね、お買い物に行ったらね、こんな感じですごかったんですね。で、誰か来てんのかなって思ってたんですけど、これ53丁目で、これをぐるぐるって今南に向いてるんですけど、北に向くと、カーネギーホールがあるんですね。ということで、カマラさんが来ていたようでした。次の動画は、良い子の皆さんは見ないでください。大人だけの動画です。どうぞ。ということでですね、どうしてニューヨーカーがこんな言葉でカマラさんを歓迎したかっていうと、これカマラさんの過去にあるんですね。で、前も私説明したと思うんですけど、これを説明したパロディの動画があったので見てください。どうぞ。
Economy is failing, and if I'm elected to 4 more years, things are only going to get worse. And so I, Kamala Harris, want to encourage every little girl in America to follow the same career path as me. Prostitution. When I was a prosecutor back in San Francisco, I was an ambitious young woman. If I thought a man could help me with my career, you'd better believe I was hooking up with him. Oh, yeah. Finally, I met the ultimate sugar daddy, San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown.
Willie Brown, who once dated Harris, says he's excited a black woman is on a presidential ticket.
It was wonderful to have that kind of ongoing, daily activity relationship.
Willie was married at the time, and so I was what's called a mistress. As Willie Brown's mistress, I was given lucrative positions in California state government. These were essentially fake jobs, stealing from California taxpayers. For one job, I met just 2 days per month and was paid about $250,000 per year. And so when Donald Trump asks how I'm going to deal with Vladimir Putin or Kim Jong-un, well, let's just say I got a lot of experience dealing with powerful men. Some politicians do backroom deals. I do back rub deals. You know what I'm saying?